Good morning. I just want to give a quick update on what I've been up to recently. I've been continuing to study Chinese. This is Asimil's first Chinese with ease, and I am on lesson 38 now. So I'll go back. I'll try to listen to on my iPod a bunch of lessons in a row in the MP3 format. Go say 15 lesson 15 to 18. I'll listen to in a day. See if I understand it all. If there's vocabulary or things I don't understand, I go back. So I'm trudging pretty slowly through it, but I'm really improving, and it's great speaking it here in New York City because there are plenty of speakers and people that I can occasionally meet and try to use Mandarin with. So, for instance, the other day I went to a restaurant called Han Dynasty, and the food was delicious, and I got to try reading the menu in Chinese, say a few things in Chinese, and I don't know. I've been enjoying studying Chinese. I've been enjoying trying to learn the characters. I'm still very bad at it. I could not make a video in my broken Mandarin because I don't have enough. I don't know enough to be able to say anything of worth yet. I can just say a couple phrases. I can talk about food. I can, talk about who I am a little bit, but I can't get much farther than that yet. I can understand better than I can speak to. I've been going back through my my Asimil German book just real quickly because I'm hoping to be able to go to Germany this summer just for vacation, take a couple weeks off, and I want to read more about different sites in Germany. I've been to Hamburg and Berlin, and I'd like to see maybe some other parts of the country and travel about. So if you have any suggestions about Germany, I'd love to hear them. So I'm brushing up on that. I'm just rereading this to get more finer details of the grammar down. And then I'm also listening to, there's a podcast called, I forget what it's called exactly, but they just give out the German news spoken slowly. So it's good for me because if I listen to the German news spoken full speed, I really miss a lot. Where spoken slowly, I can get individual words, and the words that I don't know, I can look up, like Angriff. If they're talking about the Ukrainian conflict and they're talking about an attack or something like that. So that's something that I learned actually this morning. And it takes me a while to read in Russian because it's more difficult for me, much more difficult than reading, say, French or Spanish even. And I'm 200 pages into this. I read about 10 more this morning. Really enjoying the book, loved it in English, and I'm enjoying it in Russian as well. And so that's kind of what I've been up to as far as language learning. As far as the channel goes, I kind of want to buy a portable camera. If anyone has a good, cheap recommendation for a camera to load videos onto YouTube, I'd love to hear them. Because I want to go visit different boroughs and different areas in New York City where there are population of immigrants that live there. For instance, Brooklyn, I know in Brooklyn there's a Brighton Beach, and there's just a ton of Russians that live there. Just a huge pocket. I've been there several times. I like it. I like going to the bookstore there, talking to people, the restaurants. And so I could bring a camera and then maybe film some of the interactions, talk a little bit about, the history of that small region, the people who moved there, and and talk about with some people about either the food or whatever the region. There's also besides Brighton Beach, there's of course Little Italy, which is now more just an area for tourism than it is for actual new influx of Italians. But there are still a lot of Italians that work. All these restaurants and areas are worked by Italians. So you can still go there and speak Italian, which is nice. Even though I think the food there is somewhat overrated. It's a little overpriced for what you get, and there are some great Italian restaurants outside of Little Italy that I actually personally prefer. But Little Italy, I can go there and speak Italian with all the workers in all the stores. Whereas outside, yeah, there's authentic Italian restaurants, but it might just be one isolated restaurant in a different part of town. There's also Chinatown here in Manhattan, which speaks mostly Cantonese, but there's also a group of Chinese immigrants living, Mandarin-speaking immigrants, that's now in Flushing, Queens. There's a group of, I know there's a Tibetan community in Queens. There's a ton of Yiddish-speaking Jewish communities in Brooklyn. There's Koreatown here in Manhattan. There's tons of pockets of Spanish-speaking groups of people. So I would speak all these languages. So I could use either the language when I can, or I could just use English, but go around and talk about these different areas of New York City. I can learn a lot more about New York City and get to know a lot more interesting people and put up videos for people who are interested in the city, for visiting these areas. I think it would be a fun series to do for me, and it could be interesting for other people as well. So let me know your thoughts on that, and if there's any regions that you think I should visit. If you think, yeah, whatever you think about it, I'd love to hear some feedback. All right, take care.